Today was a special day for Classic Aviation Designs. We got to hand over our newly completed Zenith CH200 to its new owners. During the presentation, I presented to the owners their CAA documentation, their flight manual, and a few other little bits and pieces that I put into the folder that is carried in the aircraft. We also had a special guest today. His name is Frank Sleeth. Frank is the original owner of this aircraft. He ordered the plans in 1978 from Zenith, and he constructed it to a full fuselage, and basically all the aluminium work was all completed. During the presentation, I thought it fitting that seeing Frank had started the aircraft and was the person who popped the first rivet in to the airframe. I thought it was time for him to install the final two rivets and call his project complete in 2019. In this photo you see myself to the left and the two new owners in the middle and Frank on the right. With all the ceremonial duties all completed, I thought after all these years it was time that Frank should actually go for a fly in his aircraft. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the new owners of the Zenith in allowing me to take Frank on this flight, and I hope through this video they get to see the satisfaction that it has brought Frank to have closure on his project. After a suitable amount of time of straight and level flying just to get the feel of the aircraft, I thought it was time that Frank started to explore some of the flight envelope of the Zenith CH200. We started off with some gentle turns left and right, just so he could get the feel of the aircraft. Once Frank had completed these maneuvers, I was to take control again, and I wanted to demonstrate to him how versatile and maneuverable the little Zenith is. By no means what I'm demonstrating here are the limits to this Zenith CH200. In the test flight program, the aircraft was pushed through all phases of its flight. But for today, I didn't think we really needed to demonstrate those sort of things to Frank, and it was far more fun just to do some zooming and some climbing and some gentle turns. After completing some steep turns, we then decided to see what its top speed would be on a bit of a turbulent day like this. And we were quite surprised to see 115 knots at 2600 RPM, which is very good for a little CH200. It seemed a waste just to pull power and to slowly reduce speed. So we had 115 on the dial. I entered into a few more steeper turns and a couple of zooms and swoops to finish off the manoeuvring demonstration of the aircraft. Like all good times, they do have to come to an end, so it was time to head back to the aerodrome. So we tracked the coast over Makatu and past the Kaituna River entrance and called in for a clearance to land in the Tauranga Aerodrome. On our left here you can see the expanse of Papamoa East. It won't be much longer before it actually will touch Makatu Harbour. There's a lot of houses down here now, and even more subdivisions being put into place to encourage more people to come and live in Tauranga. receiving our clearance to join on long finals for grass 2.5. We get turned and there's the runway right off our nose. The little Zenith is an easy aircraft to land. You follow the numbers. We set 2000 RPM, set it at about 65 knots, and just maintain your hand on the throttle to adjust the rate of descent, and you can just bring it all the way down. It was a little bit turbulent today, so we had quite a bit of a wind coming in from our left quarter, so I had to hold a lot of left wing down and then just keep it straight with the right rudder. As usual, as passing over top of the golf course with all the undulating ground and the current wind that was blowing, you get a bit of mechanical turbulence. There's nothing to worry about, you just ride it out, and when you come out the other side then you set yourself back up again for your approach. As you come up to the fence, as we call it, at the end of the runway, you want to have no more than 60 knots, and you can even have it on a calm day, you could have it back at about 55 knots. And once you're over the threshold, just slowly pull power, readjust the nose angle, and just let it settle onto the ground. Easy as 1, 2, 3. This little Zenith is a joy to fly. It has no real bad vices. It handles turbulence very nicely. It smooths it out. It's just really a baby Cherokee with all the dihedral it has on the wings. After landing, I had to think twice, as I was not taking the Zenith back to my hangar as I have done for the last 40 hours of flying through the test flight program. This time I was delivering it to its new owners at their hangar on the other side of Tauranga Aerodrome. Final time to shut down the Zenith after a flight, checking all the dials, making sure they're all operable, no issues, and then close the mixture to full lean or idle cut off, and as it dies, pull the throttle, and it's the end of my test flight program for the Zenith CH200. Here is a collection of photos of when we first obtained the Zenith and what condition it was in. It needed a fair bit of work. The first job was to complete the build and then work on the aluminium surfaces to restore them ready for a painting. This took many hours of treatments and making sure that we had killed all the corrosion externally and internally inside the fuselage. Once we were happy with that, we washed it down with a special aluminium wash etch, and you can here see my wife putting her hard work into it as well. And then once we had it all prepared, we fitted it all out one final time to make sure we hadn't forgotten anything, and then masked it all up ready for painting. After applying the primer coats, we then went with a straight white base and then assembled it, and then we stickered it, and then we used stickers to apply stickers to the side of it for the graphics. And here you see the finished product, and again the man popping the last 2 rivets. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you Frank, thank you Dusty, and thank you Ian for the privilege of constructing and flying the Zenith CH200 Charlie Tango.